Hello, guys and gals. Buckle up for a new episode of Talk It Out with Pascal, the one and only podcast that shares insights on whether it may be education, life, adventure, and many more. Whether you're only a student, an adult, or someone stopping by, you're sure to pick up tidbits of actionable advice when you listen to Talk It Out with Pascal. I am Joaquim Tolentino.
I am Timothy Jeffrey Pelicano, and we're from 10 Pascal. Now, you are listening to Talk It Out with Pascal, where you talk the talk and walk the walk.
TJ, face-to-face classes are challenging today. There are so many struggles to deal with by many students, especially for us since we are SEC students.
I agree with you. Every time I go to school, I always come back to my home looking like a beaten up old mop.
Yeah, same. I don't even have time to study at home because my energy is already depleted. I was forced to do my homework at school instead of doing it at home.
It really was tiring. Many students in the Philippines are experiencing one of those struggles. According to a study way back in 2017, 18% of students are experiencing struggles. Even though there are many struggles, Fed is forced to have limited face-to-face classes.
If it's way back in 2017, how about now? There should be many more since our population is forever and ever expanding.
Yes, and it is very heartbreaking to the most of us. I asked some of our friends if they are still okay with having face-to-face classes. Some said that okay lang naman, basta makapasa lang ako.
It looks like that many are struggling with their studies. I can't really blame them since they have nothing to do with the problem. Also, many students are struggling with their mental health, and I can see why they are struggling.
There are so many struggles to deal with today.
In particular, we go to school at 6 a.m. in the morning to not be late and go home by 6 p.m. because of after school activities. I almost forgot to mention the assignments. After 10 hours of school, they still manage to give us assignments. It has come to the point where we only come home to eat, study again, then sleep. We have a difficulty in dividing our time between schoolwork, family and friends, and even ourselves. The absurdity of the amount of schoolwork that some teachers give is insane. But luckily, some teachers are seeing our perspectives in our studies, in which they give less schoolwork to balance the other subjects.
Because of this, give respect to those teachers. They are considerate and kind to most of us students. But this is still alarming, considering that we have a broken education system, inside and out.
The best thing we can do is call out the wrongdoings of the education system. We can protest to the government to hope that they would listen and be transparent in change.
But people will call you an activist. Aren't you scared? They might, red tag you.
Even if you are called an activist or they might reg tag you, it is never wrong for standing against the wrong and fighting what is right. It is a state of working for change, a change that will benefit more people.
You know what? I agree with you. The broken education system is only one of the struggles. Next on our list is the expectations of other people for us students, whether it may come from our family, friends, or even teachers.
Some expectations are too far to begin with. Since we are SEC students, we are under so much pressure to be excellent at our studies. I'm really sad and annoyed by the statements such as, kaya niyan, SEC kayo, or time management is key. I always wonder why we are getting treated this way. It's like we can never get a break.
I totally agree. For me, my family wants me to be at the top of the class. Yes, it's possible. But the amount of pressure it gives you is like an anvil. Like if you mess up once, you start to question yourself if you are good enough. And then, when you don't achieve the expectations they wanted, you feel guilty about yourself.
For me, it is best to ignore their expectations and try to be your own definition of you. Bring out the best of you without putting yourself under pressure. Do not live to satisfy the expectations of others. Just be yourself.
That's a nice advice. And also, to add, reminder is that you do not put pressure on someone and expect them to do it easily. A task requires time and effort. Do so even if it is big or small. Try to be easy on your family and friends. You never know what they are experiencing.
Yeah, it's true. Having big expectations of someone will give them a hard time and they will experience more burnout than before.
Speaking of burnouts, that's also one of the struggles that a public student faces. A study has shown that Filipino students have moderate to high risks for burnout.
This is very alarming because I too experience burnout often. But luckily, we tackled how to deal with burnout in our English class. Yeah, we should know our limits, change our bad habits, and change our lifestyle once in a while for the element of surprise.
We should change once in a while, but the change needs to have a little bit of a surprise. So we wouldn't burn out.
True, once a month I find new things to do such as cooking. I even baked a buko pie once. It was fun. But back to the topic, burnout has a huge effect on a student's mind. It affects mostly their mental health and it often leads to be unproductive.
Wow, a buko pie. Let me have some. Just kidding. I tend to be unproductive if I am already tired from academics. I usually don't open up about why I feel unproductive. I feel overwhelmed and confused about myself, like I tend to feel anxious about my work, effort in academics. Sometimes uncertain. I am always worried about my grades in every work. I always overthink that it will have a huge impact on my grades. I am quite scared to fail because of what others might think of me, especially today when we are starting back to zero because of the pandemic. It feels like I'm still not ready. Even studying is hard for me since it's been a long time since we had classes. Quizzes are harder since we have no Google to rely on. It's a shock for me that we are already transitioning to face classes again. Just can't keep up with time, the system.
Don't think like that. If you need help, you can always talk to someone like me. You can vent to me what is going on, and I'll try my best to give advice and help you in your struggles. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. Just because you're not doing well doesn't mean you have to act like everything is fine, because it is wrong to not feel good mentally. Admitting that something is wrong is always the first step in fixing whatever the issue is.
You're right. Should open up my thoughts to someone I trust so I can be back on track again. Need to share awareness with anyone who is experiencing mental health issues. Check up or kamustahin your friends to see if they are okay. Some say they are okay, but in reality, they're not. Sometimes ang habol natin sa school is friends. They always make you feel happy, comfortable, and less lonely. As also mentioned earlier, they understand you really well since they also experience the same things. I feel like our classmates always have our backs considering the hardships that we have been through. So we should be there for them also.
Remember to check up on your friends, okay? Moreover, this next struggle frustrates me a lot. Even though I live by near our school, I see different perspectives from other people. Many students experience being late in their classes, whether it may be in the morning or in the afternoon. Many reasons are from traffic. Every morning and afternoon feels like a busy hour. You can hear the horns blaring, engines purring, and many else.
Sometimes commute when I'm heading home. I experience scolding from my family. It's a drag because I go home late, about 7 p.m. Can't do anything about it because of the traffic. The roads are delayed. It's even worse if it is raining hard. We'll be soaking wet.
It sounds horrible from the way you describe it. Not to mention that jeepney fares have been going up lately. I hope that the government will fix this issue. Just like I said before, we can protest to our government for change, a change that benefits all.
Yeah, and also when your friend comes home late, listen first to what they are going to say. Maybe their reason was genuine. They couldn't do anything to change the outcome. Remember to listen before you act.
We need to listen first, then evaluate the information, weigh down the information, and they give our decision or judgment. Just like our lesson in English this first quarter.
Yes, do not make judgments too quickly. We need to weigh down the given information. We should think about the results and consequences of the choices that we are about to make or decide on. It is really important to think ahead. Make up your own mind about what to do next so that you don't want to wind up with an unwelcome outcome. Matter of fact, thinking things through is useful for our mental well-being because it helps us to define and organize experiences, plans, learn, reflect, and create.
Yeah, I agree you. But lastly, we need to talk about the number one struggle of many students. I think that we've all experienced this before. I've experienced this before. You have experienced this before. Maybe the person listening to us have experienced this before, and it is procrastination.
It's not surprising at all. It's my number one for me as well. I hate the idea of procrastination, but I still do it till today.
Same, but I have advice on how to beat it. First is to eliminate all distractions like your TV, phone, or anything that you see as a distraction.
Oh, I get it. So set it away until you can see it? I also have an idea, and that is to give yourself deadlines. I always give deadlines to myself as I think to myself and imagine that every task is due tomorrow. It helps 80% of the time for now, but I still practice it so that I can be used to it.
Yeah, same. I still practice it, but I always have room for improvement so I can change my ways into something more effective than it was before. Just like I am putting some organizers into Nix when I'm working on something so I can be organized on what to finish first.
If all else fails, we can't fight procrastination, might as well join it. Just kidding again.
But in all seriousness, practice small habits to fight it and do not let it take you over. Karma hits back.
There are so many struggles of a public student, just the broken education system, mental health, commuting, procrastination, and many more. We didn't enumerate them all this episode, since there are so many to tackle. They all have one thing that they have in common: greatly affect us inside and outside.
We can always request a change in the system, but the only problem is that sometimes they don't listen to us. It's up to us to make a step toward a better future. If the struggles that we know today cannot be solved, what will happen to the next generation?
Actually, I don't know what will happen to the next generation. So we just need to sacrifice for the better. Tumindig tayo sa tama at huwag tayo magbulag-bulagan sa katotohanan. Let's all be transparent about change. If it is for the sake of all, why not do it?
Let's change those what ifs and make progress for our society. Remember, change lies from within. By working together and standing for what is right, we will get the things we deserve. A generation that will not be suffering from struggles. But do remember that some struggles of a student cannot be seen by the naked eye. It is from within, such as the past, like trauma and personal issues. That's why we need to be there for our friends and family. Be there when they are at their lowest and their highest. We can all succeed. We just need to try.
That's right. Try and try. I just read a quote earlier that states, fall down 7 times, stand up 8.
That is a wrap for today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. Remember, we need to stand for change and be there in times of need.
This is Talk It Out with Pascal, where you talk the talk and walk the walk, powering down.
I am Joaquim Tolentino.
And I am Timothy Jeffrey Pelicano.
We're signing off for today's episode.
Stay safe and take care, everyone.